Tell you what the Northampton lineup is looking like today. They're pretty happy with the side they come out. New coach this year, Grant Malentis, and we can tell you from the full back line, it's Jared Woodcock, Cam Holmes and Stacey Middleton. Halfbacks Gus Spalding, Max Lawson and Angus Reynolds. Centre line of Luke Burns, Braden Jupp and young Cohen Fletcher. And then we have forwards of Brodie Atkinson, Callum Teakle and Kieran Harris. Full forward line of Grady Tomalty, Tristan Taylor and Cole Selinovic. The first ruck is Jake Criddle, Tyler Caddy and Jaden Paletti. Interchange players Jake Malaya, Liam Paletti, Jackson Eastoff and Peter Hampton, I should say. So a pretty good and young side there too for the side that is going in underdogs today, I would think. But it'll be a really good contest because both have got very, very young sides. And we do know that Towns had a very good win in the Colts, but they have 6 Colts players playing league today, and they didn't double up. So they had Caleb Sewell, Rex Hebley comes in, Leon Jones Jr., also James Simmons, and also Noah Middleton and Austin Main, along with Nate Thomas McGee. So Towns, a very young side today. We did see that Rowan Farris played reserves today, Peter, and Rowan may be drawing a line in and saying that he's quite happy to play reserves at the moment. So that is certainly a big loss because we've seen a lot of Rowan over the last 10 years and he's been outstanding, hasn't he?
He certainly has. I think he's headed to the end of his 30s, Glenn, so he's probably thinking now that he needs to, step back a little bit. He's a very competitive man. I know Ron pretty well, and he'd be finding it pretty hard to stand back and not be able to get out there, but he's probably finding that his body's starting to slow down a little bit for him and not allowing him to do the things he used to do in the past. And sometimes it's better to sort of step back when that happens because then you're sort of not frustrated as a player out there on the park.
And we'll go around the grounds with thanks to Kiralee War, the member for Geraldton and the City of Greater Geraldton. And we've got a reserves score from up at Mullawar. And Mullawar 54 have defeated Rovers 5. So that's the Resi score up there at Mullawar today. So we've seen Mullawar win both the Colts and the reserves. And we know that Mullawar don't have a women's side, so there'll be no women's game from Mullawar today. And we'll bring you quarter-by-quarter scores from Mullawar Oval today. Rovers up against Mullawar. And we'll also have quarter-by-quarter scores, Chapman Valley and also Brigades. That'll be a good contest, as will be our Drennan O'Malley Motors game day, Towns and Northampton. We'll take this short break because we're going to have our ceremony, and we would be rude of us to keep talking while the service goes on. And Northampton Afghanistan veteran Ben Cripps will address the crowd and the players and umpires get into line, as do the players from both Towns and Northampton. You're tuned to Radio Mama, your home of GNFL footy. We'll be back after this ceremony with the first bounce here on Radio Mama. The big one this afternoon from Perth International Oval. We just had the toss of the coin, and the service compiled by Ben Cripps, of course, is the first cousin of Patrick Cripps, the Carlton star, and Ben Cripps served a number of services in Afghanistan. He leaves the ground now. The toss of the coin has been won, and Northampton's Callum Teakle won the toss and has decided to go with the breeze, which is a pretty good thing to do in the first quarter of a game, first game of the season for Towns and Northampton. This is round 2 of the GNFL Premiership season, and it's a big one. Doing it today for Sandford Settlements, and of course you are on Radio Mama, your home of GNFL footy. And we're about to see the big game underway. Peter, how do you see this contest, and who are you going for this afternoon as a winner?
It's going to be pretty hard to pick this one, Glenn, because both sides are coming in with sides that we haven't seen so far this year, of course, but leading into going away from last season, I don't think they resemble the sides of either team, or the lineup of either team last season. So it's going to be pretty tough. But I'm going to stick my neck out and say the Youngtown side might come home with a win today.
Okay, it should be a good contest. I, like you, would expect Towns to be too good, but it will be interesting to see how it goes. Of course, Rex Hebley and Gus Hebley both played for Northampton last year. They are now playing for Towns. The umpires this afternoon, the Sandra Carr MLC umpires for round 2 game here, our broadcast game on Drill O'Malley Motors Game Day. Rob Bennett and Stephen Pratt. Steve Pratt is helping the umpires out, and he holds the ball aloft. We're about to get this game underway here from Northampton this afternoon. The ball goes into the air. Towns get the best of it through Morphew. Goes to the ground. Picked up by Tyler Caddy for Northampton, going to the golf club end, or the southern end. Northampton player held while not in possession, so the free kick goes the way of Northampton. Northampton have it through the agency of a young man who gets the ball out, gets it out to the player running forward in Luke Burns. Towns have an opportunity in defence. The ball comes back to Northampton. It's deep in the pocket in the forward line for Northampton. Ball comes across the face of goal, and Cohen Fletcher has marked, and Cohen Fletcher is 35 metres out, directly in front, kicking to the golf club end, kicking into the breeze. Although the breeze has dropped a little bit, it looked to be worth 2 or 3 goals early on, but it seems to have faded a little bit at the moment.
Nice big windsock today though, Glenn.
I love the windsock. At least it's standing and it's looking good, but it's not very blowing in the breeze much at the moment. The ball goes through the right-hand side. First score on the TMS scoreboard this afternoon. We've played 1 minute in this first term, with thanks to Community Bank Geraldton, and Towns are 1 behind. Northampton yet to score.
Towns kicking to the southern end of Northampton Oval this afternoon, Perth International Oval, that is. Kick into a slight breeze, as Glenn said. Not much of a breeze here to speak of, although when we arrived earlier on this afternoon, around lunchtime, there was a bit of a breeze blowing. So I think it's coming probably from a southeasterly direction, so not being recorded on the windsock. Ball coming in now from the defence for Northampton, but it looks like it's Towns that might still have control of the ball to take it toward the boundary. A player is quickly thrown across pretty ferociously, and a few whistles blowing there at the umpire to retrieve the ball and throw it in. Not far from the dugout for the Town side. Bulldogs, very young lineup today. Jared Mark was saying their average age is about 21, I think, something like that. The ball coming now the way of Towns, down the wing. It goes just in front of our club rooms this afternoon. It's picked up by the big fella on this occasion, and we're talking about Jalen Parsons. He kicks it toward goal, and it goes toward the boundary, though. Comes off the side of his boot and out on the full. Jalen Parsons, bit of a goal sneak for Towns, expecting big things of him this season. Did play, was unexpected to probably line up. He's been under an injury cloud in recent weeks in training leading up to the first game of the season. Of course, this is the first game for Towns. The first game of the GNFL season last week was a stand-alone game at the recreation ground. Up they go now, knocked down by the Towns custodian. Goes out of the pack though. Picked up, shot on goal, another shot on goal, and it is a goal, and it's a good one, and I think it is put through by the youngster, Glenn. You're hoping for big things of this season from Towns, and let's see when he comes back. He certainly, Raymond, actually, that is scored by Raymond Bonnie is his name. Yeah. So Raymond Bonnie. So he I think it was young Jones from Towns that you were expecting big things. I thought it was him, but Bonnie certainly didn't waste any opportunities. He was quickly brought to ground, but he certainly got the kick away in first up blood this afternoon.
Very good goal from Bonnie. So Towns, as Peter mentioned, gets the first score on the board. Big day here at Northampton as we have a very, very interesting Anzac Day clash as Towns win the ball forward, this time by Lachlan Morphew. Good knock. Goes the way of Northampton. Northampton having the ball with Caddy. Tackle on that player. Umpire Pratt will come in and throw the ball up. So there's a fair bit of happening here at Northampton. Lots of people enjoying the sunlight and a beautiful day. Light breeze favouring the northern end or the school grounds end. Goes the way of Caddy again. He goes by hand. Gets it out to his teammate there in Angus Reynolds. Reynolds has the ball held to him. And the umpire will come in and throw the ball up. So once again, the ruckman will go at it. Young Northampton ruckman in Criddle up against Morphew. Morphew has the best of it. Northampton player is tackled high and too high. So the free kick goes the way of that player and Jaden Paletti. Paletti on half-back. Kicking the ball along the clubroom side. Kicks it towards centre wing where he finds a Towns player. That Towns player who was a good strong mark
50-metre penalty, Glenn.
Austin Main was the player who was interfered with on a 50-metre penalty. So Austin Main, very much a young player.
Not much of him.
He was born in 2007.
Yeah, good Nagel boy, Austin.
Austin Main plays on by hand, gets it away to a teammate. That teammate is tackled. And Cole, free kick goes the way of Northampton. Good tackle put on. And Angus Reynolds was the player there. Reynolds on the back line, kicks it up towards centre wing, looking there for Criddle. Criddle goes through, and whistle on play, goes the way of Jai, and Jay O'Brien is tackled. And O'Brien didn't play a lot of footy early last year because of injury, so he's had a good pre-season. Ball thrown up by umpire Bennett. In goes Criddle, picked up by Caddy. Caddy for Northampton, kicks it up towards half forward once again. It's Josh DeLacy who cuts it off for Towns.
Josh DeLacy sends it down the broadcast side. Through comes Parsons now, takes a strong mark. Probably the biggest and strongest player on the field this afternoon. He infringed though. Free kick going to the defender. Coming forward now, finds Paletti. Paletti getting a few kicks early for the Rams. Just in front of our broadcast position for Radio Mama. We can smell the hamburgers have just come off the grill, Glenn, as they send it further afield now, does Paletti, down to centre wing. It comes off a play, takes it toward the boundary on this occasion, and takes it over the white line. So the ball about to be thrown in now. It is first blood this afternoon to Towns. They won straight goal 6, and they lead Northampton just the 1 point. Northampton kicking against a slight breeze toward the southern end. Perth International Oval here this afternoon. Early stages of the first term, brought to you by Community Bank Geraldton.
So the ball to become back along the centre wing, just in front of our Radio Mama broadcast box here at Northampton, where we once again have the best seats in the house. Goes the way of Towns. Towns get it away of Austin Main. He gets a handball forward. Northampton player has the ball held to him. Comes back, goes the way of young Angus Reynolds. Whistle on play. Reynolds was slung, and that's the way the umpire has seen it. So he's been prominent early, young Angus Reynolds. He's a left footer. Runs into a bit of trouble now, but he gets the kick away. Then ball smothered off the boot. Angus Reynolds goes back in, slaps it out. Looking out there for Gus Spalding. Oh, Northampton player tackled the Towns player too high. Free kick goes the way of Caleb Sewell. Caleb Sewell gets it in. Gets it the way of the hard-running player there in Drew McGregor. Drew McGregor's handball is cut off. In goes Northampton through Jared Woodcock. And both sides going in pretty ferociously at the moment. Picked up by Drew McGregor. Drew McGregor shoots on goal, but he's offline. And on the TMS scoreboard, Towns go to 1-1. They lead Northampton 1 behind.
You listen to Radio Mama, the home of GFL football, relaying through Radio Geraldton. I've been enjoying our broadcast so far this afternoon. We're coming to you live and local all season. Ball now. Gus Spalding, the new inclusion into the Northampton side. Ill-directed kick, though, finds the chest of Rex Hebley. Hebley switches play into the middle of the ground now. Ball spills free. There's Spalding again, but he's met in a contest there as a player runs through, and Forrester, the captain for Northampton. But it's a bit like tennis. Nadal and Federer as it goes from end to end over the net, one would think, but the ball back with Hebley now. Hebley now just inside the centre square. He sends it into the half-forward area for Towns. Up they go. The Bulldogs at the back of the pack. That is Parsons. He's unable to collect it. The ball spills off his hands, goes to ground. To the defence for Railways, I should say, Northampton have the better. Jupp does. He gets it to a teammate now who goes through traffic, handballs well, collects it again. Can he go on with the job? He does so. Comes away with Caddy now. Caddy onto his boot, out to the wing, and a beautiful mark is taken at centre wing. This time the mark is taken by Cole Salanovic.
There goes the players, new players, kick up towards half forward. So Northampton are going against the breeze, kicking towards the golf club end, or the southern end, and whistle on play once again. One of the GNFL umpires, Stephen Pratt, has to come in and throw the ball up. Big pack around the ball. So not pretty footy at the moment, but Northampton is a pretty closed, tight ground. Well suited to close, tight fighting and contesting as the ball comes off the boot of the Northampton player there in Selenovic. And the Towns player will get the ball back into play because the ball went out of bounds off the boot. So Towns get the ball forward through Josh Delatey. Not a good kick. He's picked out Callum Teagle. Callum Teagle from 60 metres out gets a ball up in towards the forward pocket, finds a teammate deep in the right forward pocket. Very awkward kick from there. But the player with the ball has got it, and an opportunity for the Northampton player, number 2, who we haven't got listed at the moment. We'll find out who he is. And there goes his kick. Looks pretty good from 40 metres. That is a very good kick. That is a magnificent goal. That's a beauty. And Northampton come back into contention very, very quickly. Wonderful goal there from that player. And a fine goal indeed to Northampton. So on the TMS scoreboard, which is a technical maintenance support scoreboard, and they've been long-time supporters of the Northampton Footy Club. And the scores are level here at Northampton. We've played 10 minutes in this first term with thanks to Community Bank Geraldton.
1-1 apiece, as Glenn's mentioned. All back in the middle now. Great conditions for football here in round 2. The GNFL for season 2026. Community Bank Geraldton bringing you this the first term. And goes umpire Bennett, who officiated at the game we were at last week as well. Up they go. Morphew cleverly taps it back, but only as far as Caddy now. He weaves through a couple of players, puts it onto his boot into the half-forward area. It's a nice kick. Up go a couple of players. They go to ground, though, because the ball was tapped away earlier. Free kick goes to the defender for Towns because of that. Coming out of defence now. Towns. They have it with the man. Let's return to the lineup in Jay O'Brien. Jay O'Brien, a likely customer. He is a very mercurial player. He can make something out of nothing as the ball stays with Towns now. They go laterally across the ground, but was that a mistake? Luckily enough, the ball bounced well for the Bulldogs coming out from our broadcast position. A nice mark is taken by the youngster who plays on now down the wing. Off they go, and it's Rex Headley who has it. He takes a bit of time, but puts it onto his boot, sends it up into the air, into the breeze. It bounces end on end and through for the minor score. So Headley having the impact at his new club early, Glenn.
Yeah, he's a good player. Ball comes back into play from Northampton. They come towards the clubroom side. Goes the way of young Angus Reynolds. Reynolds kick covers the player who is looking for. Ball very close to the boundary line. In goes Northampton's Cohen Fletcher. Ball goes out of bounds, and the boundary umpire to put the ball back into play. So, first term of a very entertaining game of footy here at Northampton. Scores are pretty close. 1 point the margin in favour of Towns. Towns have got a good 2-goal breeze at their back. So Northampton pretty happy with their first part of this quarter. They need to keep it going. Whistle on play. Umpire Pratt has picked out a free kick on centre wing. Goes the way of the Towns player. And is the captain and JJ Clune medalist in Drew Forrester. Drew Forrester, the young man, goes back. Centre wing. Kicks it up towards full forward. Pack into the air, ball off hands, ball running free. Northampton slap it through. Good bit of play there from Paletti. And on the TMS scoreboard, 12 and a half minutes gone in this first term. Towns, 1-3-9, lead Northampton 1-1-7.
The tallest goalposts in the league here at Northampton, Glen. Bit of support, I think, from the AFL or East Fremantle when they had that special game a couple of years ago.
After the cyclone.
It was too, wasn't it? And they are giant goalposts for sure. AFL style. The ball on the wing now with Northampton goes forward, and there's the youngster is making his debut this afternoon, and Gus Hebley for Northampton, the former Railways player, sends it further, I should say Spalding, sends it further afield into the half-forward area. The ball's quickly brought to ground. A bit of a tackle was put on, but the player was dealt with a little bit crudely. Towns are the recipient of a free kick as they go laterally now in defence. Southern end. Perch International Oval. Down it comes now, and there he is, the big fella. Put on a bit of condition too, and it's Lachlan Morphew. A bit of muscle. He used to be all skin and bone one time, that young fella, but certainly filling out now, and a bit of a conveyance out there on the field as he marks pretty even, uncontestedly on the far side once again. He sends it inboard. Gee, it was an ill-directed kick then on that occasion by Morphew. The player has dealt with, and the free kick will go the way of that player, and on this occasion it's Cameron Hoffhammer.
He gets the ball across the ground, comes across towards the clubroom side, goes the way now of Rex Hebley. Rex Hebley gets it up the ground for Towns, gets it to his teammate in Noah Ugle. Ugle gets it over towards another teammate in Garlett. Garlett goes towards full forward, goes the way of Northampton defender in Braden Jupp, gets it to Holmes, and a Northampton player is tackled. Play on's the call, goes the way of Towns, kicked the ball forward through Garlett, picked up now by the big fella, and a good goal there to Jalen Parsons. He gets his first of the afternoon. Ball came off the top of the pack, and Jalen Parsons couldn't believe his luck. He walked into an open goal from 10 metres out, gets his first of the afternoon, and he's a very good goal scorer, as we know, at Towns. And on the TMS scoreboard, 14 minutes gone in this quarter, with thanks to Community Bank Geraldton. And Towns getting a bit of value now for the breeze. Towns 2 goals, 3-15, lead Northampton 1 goal, 1-7.
Well, coming back to the middle now, and it is Towns who have sent a hold on this game at Northampton this afternoon. All coming back now, players setting themselves. As Glenn said, Northampton, very small ground, so end-to-end footy is pretty quick here in the Northern Town. Umpire throws the ball aloft once again. It's Criddle who goes up on this occasion. Doesn't win the knock, but the ball goes straight down. No one can get a mitt to it. And the way now of Towns, and Forrester tries to come out of the pack. Does it once, twice, and dealt with after getting rid of it on the second occasion. And he'll have a 50-metre penalty that'll take him right down into the goal mouth, Glenn.
Yeah, wasted opportunity there from Northampton player there, Liam Paletti, give away the free kick up the ground. So now we have Jalen Parsons shooting on goal from 50 metres out. Directly in front, kicking to the scoreboard end and also the school end. There goes the kick from Jalen Parsons. Looks pretty good off the boot. He's got his second in a minute. And all of a sudden, Towns take a grip on this contest. On the TMS scoreboard, Towns go to 3 goals, 3-21. Northampton a 1 goal, 1-7. So a good goal there to Jalen Parsons. And he's a confidence player like most forwards are, Peter. And you don't want him to get too much of the ball early because he'll have a bit of a birthday as the day goes on.
Well, there was a fellow in red and white on Thursday night that had a day out as well, Glenn, and Charlie Curnow. So he certainly is showing that type of style at the moment is Parsons, and he kicks another fine goal for Towns. So time ticking away, halfway through the first term here at Northampton this afternoon. This quarter brought to you by Community Bank Geraldton. Towns going to get away early in this Renan O'Malley game day. Morphew fists it away, but he dealt with his opponent at the same time, so he's getting a bit... No, he's got a free kick that's going his way. Yes, he is. So they play on now, straight down the middle. It is Towns who'll set up another shot at goal. All too easy. And I think Morphew was dealt with, and they played a free kick further down the ground. And now a free shot on goal will be taken by this player in Gus Hebley, who certainly has had an impact so far.
Yeah, good bit of play there from Leon Jones Jr. Got the ball up there and finished it off well. So Gus Hebley, can he get the third goal, or the fourth goal for the Towns side in this quarter? There goes a kick from Gus Hebley. He's kicked plenty of goals from there. Of course, Gus Hebley gets his first in Towns colours after playing last year for the Northampton Rounds, and the Towns Bulldogs get around him and they celebrate that goal. So Towns on the TMS scoreboard go to 4 goals, 3-27. Northampton a 1 goal, 1-7. Of course, other games being played today. There's a game at Mazzucchelli Oval. Chapman Valley are hosting Brigades. And up at Mullawa Oval, Mullawa are hosting Rovers. We'll bring you quarter-by-quarter scores as they come to hand, with thanks to the City of Greater Geraldton and Kirrawee War, the member for Geraldton.
Kirralee sticking up for the country again in Parliament this week for borders and also for country schools, Glenn. So she's doing a great job, isn't she?
Okay, ball back in the centre, and Stephen Pratt with that ball. And
Gus Hebley probably twice as many possessions as anyone else in the park at this stage, Glenn.
Yeah, he's having a day out. We could see him developing last year. He was coming along nicely. Played well at Country Week too. Ball goes the way of Drew Forrester, who plays well every week. Gets it up towards the forward pocket. Looking up there for a teammate. Ball very close to the boundary line. The boundary umpire will come and throw the ball in. So the ball going forward a little bit too regularly now for Towns, and not Northampton need to rein it in because time is going. So time is going and ticking by. Goes the way of the player there. Jay O'Brien sees the ball across the boundary line. There'll be another boundary throw in. So the ball to be brought back into play, and the big fellas will go at it. So Northampton player Eastoff up against the Towns player. Ball comes to the ground. The ball spills out. Comes the way of Northampton. Comes back towards Northampton. Get it through Caddy. Comes up the ground through Paletti. Comes now towards the Towns player. And in the Lacey, Towns player is tackled high. Umpire said no, he didn't. And the ball will come the way of the boundary, the goal field umpire. Will throw the ball up on centre wing. So the player, Noah Middleton, was the player that appeared to be tackled high. Ball comes back towards the Brigade, the Towns player, and that's DeLacy. DeLacy goes by hand, gets it over to a teammate there in Hoffhammer. Hoffhammer gets it up to Hebley. Hebley puts it on his left boot, shoots towards goal.
He's got another one.
And the ball's bounced the wrong way. That's the trouble with those footy. They bounce the wrong way sometimes. It's a bit like an Amy ad, that one, wasn't it? The ball looked like it was going to go straight through the centre, but it didn't. It went the other way.
Gus Hebley wraps up, knocks up another possession. Towns totally in control, 4-4-28. They lead Northampton 1-1-7, and the break can't come quick enough for the Northampton side to regroup, one would think. The ball going to ground now, running onto it to try and collect is Tyler Caddy. Watching getting strapped up this afternoon, Glenn. He's a very fit young man, as Tyler Caddy, and he certainly shows it out there on the field. Spends a lot of his time surfing, doesn't he? So I suppose that's how he keeps fit.
Yeah, he's a very, very good sports person, isn't he? Yeah, very, very clever. He lives in Kalbarri.
So yeah, he certainly does. A bit like you, Glenn. He hangs 10 quite a bit.
He does.
The ball coming in now. Goes to ground. Players diving on top of each other. And it really is staying in the forward 50 now for Towns. Certainly have got a stronghold on the game so far here this afternoon. Will they break the shackles? Northampton. It's the impetus, the momentum is with Towns at the moment, and Morphew is dominating the ruck. Ball goes to ground now. A bit of a pack does develop, and at the bottom of the pack he comes up, the wild man from Borneo, and Stacey Millington, and the ball will be thrown up once again.
And they go forward. Morphew gets the best of it, goes to ground. Northampton working hard again through Caddy, gets it up the ground, looking there for Tristan Taylor. He looks like a likely type. Goes back towards the Towns player who's tackled high, and Noah Middleton will get the free kick. He's on centre wing. Centres the ball now in his first league game. Middleton gets it in towards a teammate there in Leon Jones. Leon Jones on the backward side of the square, kicking towards the northern end. There goes Jones's kick up towards full forward. Out
good
goes
mark.
Parsons.
Oh, jeez.
And he's taken a strong mark. And Parsons is 25 metres out, directly in front. He's already kicked 2 this afternoon. Lining up for goal, and number 3.
Must have heard me earlier on, Glenn. That was Kerno-esque.
Very good. His shirt is not quite as tight as Kerno's, but not too bad at all. He's quite a strong man, Parsons, in his own right. So Parsons shooting on goal. Ball fades away to the right-hand side and didn't get his third.
Didn't kick through the ball either, Glenn.
No, he was...
tentative.
Yeah, so he's got his second, but he didn't get it with his third with that kick. Ball comes in. Northampton bring the ball out. 22 minutes gone in this first quarter, with thanks to Community Bank Geraldton, as Northampton want to get the ball out of their back line. They've had it in the back line for too long, especially in the second half of this quarter. They did get it up the other end a couple of times early on, but they haven't had it up there in the second half of this quarter. Ball comes forward, goes the way of Northampton now. Northampton have it through Kieran Harris. He's a hard-working player. Goes by hand. Ball spills out to Teagle. Teagle gets it up to Grady Tomelty. Tomelty gets it up towards centre wing. Ball running free now. In goes Braden Jupp, fighting hard. So too's the Towns opponent. Pack around the ball. Umpire giving it plenty of opportunity to come out. It didn't come out. And the umpire will come in and throw the ball up. And the ball will be thrown up in the centre of Northampton's Percher International Oval.
Nola Gutierrez taking some great photos this afternoon. You'll see that on the Towns website after today's game, that's for sure. Ball going to ground now, back in the half-forward area for Towns, but it's Wellington who does the best of it in that passage of play. For Northampton, gets it into space. Running onto it there is the player there in Hampton. He's curtailed his efforts, goes back the way of Towns now. Trying to get through traffic on this occasion is Sewell. He does well though, gets to the Forest. He accepts it again, does Sewell. Got a namesake to live up to. He sends it forward, but the kick isn't a good one. And finds Millington, who's luckily, I don't know, but he's like the last man in defence that's holding sway at the moment for the Rams, Glenn.
Brady Tomelty, short pass forward, but nobody here for the Rams. And the Towns player, and Caleb Sewell, takes the mark. He centres the ball, picks out a big player there in James Simmons. Simmons plays on, goes out to the outer side, gets the hard-running player there in Nate Thomas McGee. He gets it up towards full forward, and Towns have another opportunity. They've marked deep in the right forward pocket. Good mark there to Raymond Bonney.
He got the first goal of the afternoon, Bonney, Glenn.
So he's in between the
tight angle.
Yeah, very tight. In between the scoreboard and the right point post.
He come around the man on the mark, surely.
So Raymond Bonney, what will he do? He'll do a check side kick of some renown, but he brings the ball inboard. And a Towns player flies up. Ball comes to ground, picked up by a player who shoots on goal.
It's Epley again, I think, is it?
No, it's Aidan Mason.
Aidan Mason was a great opportunity.
Aidan Mason read it well. Off the ball, the ball bounced to the ground. Aidan Mason finished it off. And a very good goal from 30 metres out. And he kicked the ball around his body. And Towns have got really good value now as we head towards quarter time in our match of the day for Drennan O'Malley Motors. Towns are 5-5-35. They lead Northampton 1-1-7. And really, Northampton haven't had the ball forward or centre in the last 10 minutes.
Yeah, their only reprieve is that Towns got a goal to take it back to the centre, Glenn, and give them an opportunity to knock it forward. Braden Jupp, haven't seen much of him this afternoon. He needs to open up for his side. He certainly is a barometer for Northampton, the Rams. But at the moment, Towns, 5-5-35, lead the Rams convincingly 1-1-7. Going into quarter time. Towns, a very young side, but a very drilled side. Playing with a lot of confidence this afternoon. The ball coming out of the middle, though, off the boot on this occasion of Jaden Paletti. One of the shining lights, or a few shining lights for his side this afternoon. Sends it into the half-forward area. It's a siren sounds to announce that it's quarter time in our Drennan O'Malley game day. And here on Radio Mama, it is Towns, 5-5-35. They lead Northampton 1-1-7. And you're listening to Radio Mama, the home of GNFL football. Live on Radio Mama, it's your GNFL match of the day. Thanks to Drennan O'Malley Motors.
Centre goes the way of Braden Jupp. Northampton under the pump. They need to get the ball forward. In goes Jupp. He takes the tackle on and he's caught in possession. So the free kick will go the way of Towns. And that free kick will go the way of Raymond Bonney. Raymond Bonney has the free kick in the centre of the ground for the Bulldogs. Not a very nice kick. Picked up well by the young Towns player. Ball spills out. Comes the way of Caleb Sewell. Sewell gets it further afield. Looking up there for Parsons. Parsons was shepherded out of it, and he'll take the resultant free kick. Jalen Parsons, who's kicked 2. Our quarter-by-quarter summaries with thanks to the City of Greater Geraldton, to Kirrilly Ward, the member for Geraldton. Raymond Bonney, I should say, has kicked 1. Jalen Parsons has kicked 2, lining up for goal number 3, and singles to Gus Hebley and Aiton Mason. There goes the kick from Parsons. He's offline again, so another minus score. And for Northampton, we have only one goal scorer, and that was a young player in Brodie Atkinson. Ball comes back into play. Towns have it again. Towns have it through Drew Forrester. Has a handball out to the man running by in Jay O'Brien. O'Brien gets it up towards Parsons. Northampton's Middleton is there. Gets a kick forward. A free kick will go back the ground to Northampton. And looking at our contenders for the Skitters Restaurant Player of the Day in the first quarter, Northampton's best rule in their backline, Peter. Liam Paletti, Callum Teakle, Angus Reynolds and Stacey Middleton. And the Northampton defenders still under the pump a bit.
Better players for the Bulldogs, Raymond Bonney, O'Brien, Parsons, Gus Hebley and Lockie Morphew in no particular order for Towns. Glenn?
As we go around the grounds with thanks to the City of Greater Geraldton and Kirrilly War, the member for Geraldton. Out there at Mazzucchelli Oval, quarter time, Chapman Valley 2 goals, 2 lead Brigades, 1 goal, 1. And up at Mullawar in the league game, Rovers 7-2, 44 lead Mullawar 2-1, 13.
A big first term for a resurging Demons up there at Mullawar this afternoon, Glenn, as the ball goes to ground just in front of our broadcast position. This quarter brought to you by Melissa Price, the member for Durack. Ball coming out of a passage of play there, going forward through the agency of Colin Fletcher. He sends it through the midfield, but it's Towns who cut it off. Big fella in defence, played a few seasons now, still a youngster. I'm talking about James Simmons. He sends it to the outer side. James's dad is like the CEO out at Mullawar these days, Glenn, so he looks after what happens out there. Pretty good man to have working for the city. The ball goes back the way. He is. Goes back the way of Simmons now. Coming out of defence, though, finds Braden Jupp. He missed up the ante. Jupp came off and had a bit of treatment during the quarter-time break then, so under a bit of an injury cloud. He sends it into the half-forward area. Comes off hands over the back. They can't take the mark in Northampton as it goes toward the boundary, but they keep it in their keeping. To the Rams, they knock it inboard, but the Towns defenders work harder again and find the white line once again. So the Rams really need to make a few changes and show a bit more impetus in this term to get on top of Towns, who got off to a handy start in the first quarter of this Brendan O'Malley game day.
Northampton have the breeze in their quarter, in this quarter. The wind at their back, can that get them across the line? At least they've got it in their forward 50 for the first time for some time. So the ball is to be thrown up right near the goal square. Ball thrown up by the umpire, picked up by Towns. Towns' defenders bring it out by hand. Northampton go back in, retrieve it, get a kick forward. A good kick there by Cole Selinovic, but the ball is cut off and Towns have another opportunity through Simmons. He goes out wide, looking out there for Robert Bonney. Comes across, gets a defender who gets tackled, gets rid of it just at the nick of time. Ball comes back from DeLacy, goes the way of Bonney. Bonney gets it up towards centre wing. Towns have 3 to Northampton's 2, but Northampton do well. And Braden Jupp is one of those players. And Braden Jupp, as you say, Peter, has certainly lifted his work rate in this quarter as he tries to lift his side and get them back into the contest. They trail 36-7. 4.5 minutes gone in this second term. Ball out there on the boundary line, and the umpire has no option but to ask them to give it to him. He'll throw it up again, and he does. The umpire, Pratt, puts the ball into the air, and once again the big fellas go at it. Morphew gets the best of it, and it comes to ground again, and once again a pack develops. Not too pretty. The weather probably hasn't helped, a bit of wind, but a bit of a congested game in comparison to the game we saw last week.
Yeah, I was just thinking that, Glenn. The ball coming out of the pack now goes away by Ryan. He loses possession, though, for Towns. But they keep it in, they keep it to the Bulldogs. It comes into the middle of the ground now, and it's player running onto it for Northampton. Collects it, sends it down the corridor, but it's Bonnie. There's a few Bonnies out there, Bonnie to Bonnie. It happens quite a bit this afternoon, it will do. As it goes back the way of that player, and incidentally, it's a Bonnie, goes to ground, players diving on top of each other. And the ball is kept in that pack of players. The umpire Bennett relieving the pressure just outside the centre square, but the centre square is very close to the forward arc for Northampton, and they haven't had it up this area too much this afternoon, but an opportunity now. If they get it inside their forward 50 now, they might be able to sneak an early goal in the second term. The ball stays in the keeping of a host of players as they go to ground again, and umpire Bennett coming in to relieve the pressure once again.
6 minutes gone in this second term. Picked up by Northampton's Tyler Caddy. Roved it beautifully. Kicks it up towards Grady Tomley. Grady couldn't mark the ball off hands, and there'll be a boundary throw in the left forward pocket. At least Northampton are getting it in there a few times at the moment.
For sure.
So they're trying to lock it in and trying to make a little bit of hay while the sun shines.
It's only about a one goal breeze, or 2 goals at the most, Glenn, favouring this end, the northern end, or the Northampton end of the oval. Ball going in deep attack now, and goes over the line, about to be thrown in. So there's an opportunity for Northampton to get a major on the board.
Yeah, so once again, it's boundary throw in, but this time on the other side of the ground. It's on the scoreboard side. Boundary umpire throws the ball back into play, and Towns slapped the ball forward. Goes the way now of the Towns defender. Kicks it forward. A good mark taken there as Towns go along centre wing. Good bit of play there from Rex Heavily. Heavily gets it up the ground, looking up there for Middleton. Middleton couldn't grab it. Ball comes to the ground, goes the way of Jared Woodcock for Northampton. Woodcock centres the ball, gets it up towards the player there in Paletti. But once again, Towns regroup, and Towns have it through Heavily. Rex Heavily gets it out and gives it to McGregor. Good bit of play there.
Wearing a helmet this afternoon too, Middleton.
Ball comes in towards the centre, but the ball's cut off, and a good mark taken by Braden Jupp. Braden Jupp kicks the ball back up the centre of the ground. Good mark this time taken by Northampton ruckman in Jake Criddle. Criddle gets a short pass forward, and a good mark taken by Kieran Harris. Northampton starting to get a bit of run. Harris gets it up towards half forward. Nobody home for the Rams. In goes a Towns defender. He's caught. Didn't have prior opportunity, and the umpire will throw the ball up just in front of the TMS scoreboard, which reads Towns 5-6-36, leading Northampton 1-7.
Moments into the second term, thanks to Melissa Price, the member for Durack, as the ball is stuffed down in its movement again. In the shadows of the goals here for Northampton. Off the goes, but all directed and through for the minor score. So Northampton, they're trying to get it inside their forward 50 a bit more often, and it's happening. But they're not getting value for effort at the moment, Glenn.
No, it's tight. At least they are getting it there, but as you say, they're not getting any value at all. As Towns work the way out of defence, ball now with Aiton Mason. Mason goes with a short pass and finds Caleb Sewell. Comes up the ground and goes to Harris for Northampton. Harris goes by hand to Jupp. Goes back towards Stacey Middleton for Northampton. The ball is still backward of centre, Northampton's end, and Northampton go forward again with a short pass, and they've picked out a teammate there, and that is Brodie Atkinson.
Nice kick by Luke, was it Burns?
Luke Burns, yeah.
Luke Burns was a nice
young
kick.
player, Luke.
Yep.
Good bit of whirl there. So Brodie Atkinson, he's kicked one this afternoon. He kicked Northampton's first. Can he kick their second? Goal umpire signals, yes he can't. It looked pretty good.
It did look good for a way out, didn't it, Glenn?
The umpire didn't go too far.
Did he?
No, he just saw it didn't come through the big ones. So it was a minor score. On the TMS scoreboard, Towns are 5-6-36. Northampton peppering away. 1-3. So Northampton have got 2 behinds since quarter time, and Northampton have got 1. So scoreboard not turning over as much as Northampton needed to.
No, the ball coming out of defence now for Northampton. They're keeping it in their forward 50, so the pressure a little bit better than what it was in the first term, but they need to get some dividend on the scoreboard. Ball coming out of defence now for the Bulldogs. Options down the broadcast side. This player thinks kicking out of defence. He kicks it to centre wing, right in front of the Country Club, and it's fisted away and over the boundary. So the ball about to be thrown in. Then how have you seen the last touch kick-in rule that's been brought into AFL and also GNFL?
Yeah, I don't think it's a problem. I don't think it's going to have a big impact, really. It's certainly interesting in the AFL.
It's opened the game up in the AFL, hasn't it?
Yeah, and it's speed the game up here, but I don't in the AFL. But I don't know that we need to speed it up here. I think our players probably need a little bit of a spell every now and then. But yeah, I don't think it's going to have a massive impact. So it'll be interesting to see how it has been. I think it's been adopted pretty well by the players. So it'll be interesting. Ball comes back into play. Once again, Northampton big man. Criddle gets it over to Middleton. Middleton throws it boot to ball, but goes about 50 metres high, about 10 metres long. Ball still in the Northampton 50 line. Picked up by Burns. Burns shoots towards goal from 35 metres out. He's offline, out of bounds on the full. So Towns get to bring the ball back into play.
Then we caught up with Callie Bennett. She's the executive officer with the GNFL today, and pretty excited about her position and what's happening this season.
Yeah, she's pretty happy with the crowd she's seen. We saw a big crowd last week at the recreation ground, and we're seeing a good crowd here today. So let's hope it continues. It's a pretty good opportunity for people to come and catch up with local friends and see their local club have a go. So, yeah, good on Kelly for taking on the big role as the operation manager of the GNFL.
Ball coming out in the middle. It's cut off by Braden Jupp. The captain, Courageous, sends it down into the half-forward area now for his side, but no one's there to run onto it. It goes over the white line. Just in front of the dugout for Northampton this afternoon. As we said, great conditions for football. The breeze probably favouring the northern end, coming slightly across the ground. It's probably a 2-goal breeze at the most. Certainly well used by Towns in the first term. Northampton getting the better of the ball in their forward 50 in this particular quarter. Not able to do anything on the scoreboard as of yet. That player Millington's been working hard to try and up the ante somewhat. That's Stacey Millington. The ball about to be thrown in once again. Players waiting. It comes in now. Two big conveyances go at it, and we're talking about Teakle and also Morphew. None of them can get a bit to it. The ball goes to ground, and umpire will come in and ball it up again. So as we said, Glenn, a bit different to last week's game at the recreation ground, very open affair, but of course Northampton is a small ground too.
It is. It makes it very conducive for hard checking football. Northampton generally know how to play the game pretty well up here, but they're struggling at the moment to get getting value for effort, as we see Towns trying to get the ball out of defence. Goes the way of the Towns player, and Raymond Bonney gets it out to a teammate, and now Towns hoping to get it on centre wing, and that's what he does. Drew McGregor gets it up the ground to Bonney, and once again Towns can set something up if they can get the ball over the forward 50, but they can't on this occasion because Northampton rebound, but it's picked up again by Drew McGregor. He's the veteran of the Towns club today because he's the oldest out there and he's had plenty of experience. Ball comes the way to Gus Hebley as Towns go forward for the second time in this second quarter. Ball comes the way of the player there again in Raymond Bonney. Goes back towards Northampton. So Towns have it in their forward 50. A couple of players down, a Northampton player and a Towns player down. Trainers from both clubs going out, and there looks to be a pretty Towns player is certainly in a lot of pain, so too is the Northampton player, but they weren't 10 metres away, so I don't know they were even in the same incident, but they're both in a bad way.
They don't look like it's related, but they seem to have gone down the same time. Then while we're waiting for the players to reassess what's going on out there, so to the umpires, the information that we've got to us, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Colts from last year lining up for Towns.
That's right, and you mentioned about Towns' average age being 21, and of course we know that Rowan Farris isn't playing today, so that brings the age down a bit. But good to see the Towns player is up and about, and so too is the Northampton player. the Northampton players coming off. He's holding his arm or his tummy, and he's coming off for a spell. Looks like he might have a bit of a bruised rib or something.
And so he's going to kick go downfield as well, Glenn. A point has been scored.
Yeah, Gus Hebley offline on that occasion. So Gus, who's been in very good form, kicking, couldn't get the accuracy that time. The breeze is awkward. The breeze is picked up again.
Yeah, I think it's playing havoc with the players out there, isn't it?
It must be. The ball comes the way of DeLacy for Towns. He gets in the way of Drew McGregor. McGregor gets it into towards the centre and finds Towns J. O'Brien. O'Brien finds his skipper in Forrester. Drew Forrester's there. He leads the handball out to the hard-running player there in Rex Hebley. Ball very close to the boundary line. And Northampton need to get it out. Goes back towards Drew Forrester. He breaks a tackle. Eventually he gets a handball away. Goes away to a teammate. Northampton defenders jump aboard. The umpire, Pratt, says, give it to me. I will throw the ball up. And the umpire will put the ball into the air about 50 metres from the attacking zone for Towns, which is at the southern end against the breeze. Umpire Pratt puts the ball into the air, goes the way of the player there in Criddle. He slaps it to ground. Once again, a pack develops, and there's not much room for the players out there. Every time they grab the ball, a pack develops. And a player is tackled very, very close.
I was relishing the call last week, Glenn, a very open game. It's quite frustrating trying to call a game when there is stoppage after stoppage, but that is the nature of the beast here this afternoon as Paletti comes out of the pack, though, gives it to this player in Jarp. He bursts through the pack, he sends it down the line, but it's cut off on this occasion by the player there in Cameron Hoffhammer. Hoffhammer gets it inboard, though, goes away of Hebley. Both Hebleys have been impacting this afternoon for their new club in Towns. Gives it back to Hoffhammer, who's quickly gathered up. The umpire says no opportunity. The ball will be thrown up just in front of my co-commentator, Mr. Football, Glenn Barndon.
And Peter, it would really very much appear like that it is their first game, both these clubs today. They just seemed a little bit out of sorts, unlike last week's game where both teams went at it pretty well and handled the ball remarkably well, considering it was the first game of the season. As we see, Northampton player go towards goal, but he's offline. And made a pretty good effort of it.
He certainly did.
But unfortunately, once again, Northampton get another minus score. So Coach Grant Malentis would be a little bit disappointed. They've had a fair bit of the ball.
Probably had it in their forward 50 in this term as often as Towns had it in their forward 50 in the last, but just haven't been able to convert.
No, that's the big thing. The efficiency around goal, it does cost you. We saw it last week with the Eagles. They just didn't kick any goals in the first quarter. And they didn't put any pressure on.
This could be one coming up now as the big fella moves in to take a nice mark. I think the boy from Kelbarry. So he's going to have a shot on goal.
And Max Lawson?
Yep.
So Max Lawson.
Former Nagel boy from Kelbarry. He's a big conveyance and he took a nice strong mark then too, Glenn.
He did. So he's 40 metres out, directly in front. To say Northampton need this one is an understatement. They've been peppering away at the goals and kicking points. And Max Lawson has another shot, but this time he too is offline and a minus score. So on the TMS scoreboard, which is the technical maintenance support scoreboard here in Northampton, it is Northampton 1-5-11. They trail Towns 5-7-37. We've played 18 and a half minutes in this term, with thanks to Melissa Price, the member for Durack. Towns have the ball in defence. The ball is with Noah Ugal. He gets the ball up towards a teammate. In fact, it was Simmons who got it up the ground. Looking up there for Middleton. He couldn't control the ball. Ball comes back towards centre wing. Whistle on play. Umpire says, I will take control, throw the ball up. So the ball will be thrown up on centre wing. Ram Pavilion side of Northampton. Breeze is fluctuating, making it pretty awkward for the players. Players are certainly going at it, but the wind has made it a little bit awkward for them perhaps. They put it on their left boot, goes up towards Towns forward, Northampton's forward line, looking up there for a teammate, and a big pack develops once again, and the umpire will come in and throw the ball up. So the ball will be thrown up just in front of the scoreboard. 37 plays 11. We're into time on now at our Drennan O'Malley Motors game day from Perth International Oval.
Peter Friends and Glenn Barton bringing you all the action from Perth International Oval. As you see, Harris probably one of the better players to this point for his side. Northampton, the free kick has gone the way of his teammate, though. He's going to have a shot on goal. So could this be a goal coming up from Brodie Atkinson? He's going to have a shot on goal, and Brodie's about 25 metres out. He's going to kick on a slight angle. He's kicking from the pavilion side, just inside the forward 50, and the kick is a good one. It's straight through the middle. That's the second goal of the afternoon for Northampton. A much-needed goal for the Rams, and they go to 2 goals 5 on the scoreboard, and they lead Towns, who certainly haven't had it in their forward 50 in this particular term. So just repeating the score, it is Towns leading 5-7-37. To Northampton at 2-5-17.
Oh, Brodie Atkinson, that's his second goal of the day, Peter. So he's showing them how to do it. He kicked a good goal there and finished it off nicely. So after kicking 4 points, Northampton kicked their first goal of the quarter. So they've kicked 1 goal in each quarter. Northampton have got the work ahead of them. Towns, though, in this quarter, have only kicked 2 behind. So a little bit of work to be done.
And most of the game's been played right in front of us, Glenn.
Yeah, which is good, isn't it? Because it's a bit hard at the other end, because it falls away up the other end, but it's very nice in front of the school and in front of the club rooms as it is here at Perger International Oval. That's where the ball is. Goes the way of Jay O'Brien for Towns. He gets it up towards centre wing, finds Rex Hebley. Rex goes by hand with a big one. Looking out there from Middleton. Middleton shoots towards full forward, looking up there for a teammate, and finds him. Good bit of play there from the young Towns players. And they get it in towards the full forward, and Towns should have no problem finishing it off. And Arthur Garlett, he loves kicking goals. So Arthur Garlett is...
Well, you've built him up, Glenn.
15 metres out, directly in front. He probably likes kicking him over his head. Probably doesn't like kicking him directly in front. But there goes Rex's kick.
He's taken the sting out of Northampton's last hurrah, hasn't he?
It's a bit unfortunate because they've worked really hard,
He's
Northampton.
put it straight through the middle.
So Arthur Garlett gets his first of the afternoon, and he gets Towns' 6th of the afternoon. On the TMS scoreboard, Towns go to 6 goals 7. They lead Northampton 2-5-17. So Arthur Garlett gets his first, well done. But a nice bit of build-up there from Rex Hebley, getting it up to Middleton. Middleton centred the ball, and Arthur Garlett from 15 metres out, kicking against the breeze, got his first of the day. So a good way for Towns to rebound. Northampton would be disappointed, big fact. They've had it in their forward 50 for a majority of this quarter, but Towns have rebounded quickly and got that margin back straight away.
We're back in the middle now after Towns spoiled the party somewhat for Northampton, scoring a goal in quick response to the Northampton major. The ball coming out in the middle now goes away of Jay O'Brien. Gets it to Forrester. Forrester puts it back inside the centre, but going back the way of Northampton now through Luke Burns, who's starting to have an impact for the Rams. He kicks to the outer side, the pavilion side. A little bit of a play goes into the half-forward area, and the siren sounds to announce that it's half-time in Undred and O'Malley game day. And although Northampton have had some impact on the field, it hasn't been on the scoreboard, and they still trail. At half-time, it is Town 6-7-43, leading Northampton 2-5-17, and you're listening to Radio Mama. We are the home of GNFL football. You're listening to Radio Mama and the GNFL match of the day, thanks to Community Bank Geraldton.
thanks to Sanford Settlements, and this is Community Bank Geraldton's GNFL Premiership season. And a very, very good afternoon to you. Hope everything's going well with you today. Glenn Dunn and Peter Forenza keeping you company. Pretty entertaining game of footy. Fair to say Towns have got out of that one. At half-time, they lead by 26 points. They led at quarter-time by 28 points. In that quarter, Northampton had the ball in their forward 50 for a fair portion of the game. They kicked 1 goal 4, and Towns kicked 1 goal 2. And in the end, at half-time, it is Towns 6-7-43, leading Northampton 2-5-17. So, as we mentioned, a big game here, but there's also some big games around the district today. And in earlier games today, we saw Towns win the Colts, Towns win the reserves, and Towns win the women. In other games today, with thanks to the City of Greater Geraldton, Kirralie War, the member for Geraldton, at half-time at Mazzucchelli Oval at Nabor, Brigades lead by 4 points. Brigades 4-6-30. Lead Chapman Valley 4-26. And in the other game being played at Mullawall, Rovers have had a good start to the day. They are leading at half-time. Rovers 13 goals, 6-84. Lead Mullawall 6 goals, 2-38. So a better quarter from Mullawall that time. They did kick some 4 goals in the second quarter, but Rovers kicked another 5 after kicking 7 in the first quarter. Our contenders for the Skeeters Restaurant Player of the Day, I've been looking after Northampton, and most of the Northampton defenders are working pretty hard. They're certainly trying. Others are struggling and just not getting the score on the board. But for Northampton, Liam Paletti has worked hard. Callum Teagle, Angus Reynolds, Stacey Middleton, Kieran Harris, and Braden Jupp certainly lifted his work rate in that quarter. And Peter, what do you think of Towns in that quarter?
Wolfie continues to dominate the ruck then. The two Hebley boys, their impact has been probably pretty equal. They have certainly contributed muchly to the Towns performance. Caleb Sewell, he's got a bit of skill and style, that boy. Jane Simmons and the captain, Drew Forrester.
And we're underway in this third term, the Drennan O'Malley Motors quarter. Northampton need to get the score on the board. They get it to Braden Jupp from the player there in Caddy. Gus Spalding gets it further afield up towards the forward 50. In goes the Towns player, though, in O'Brien. O'Brien gets a handball out, goes the way of Simmons. Simmons gets it up towards half forward. Pack into the air, goes the way of Bonnie. Feeds it out to Arthur Garlett. Garlett shoots on goal from 40 metres. Goal umpire signals 1 point only. And on the TMS scoreboard here at Northampton, Towns go to 6 goals, 8. They lead Northampton 2 goals, 5.
This quarter brought to you by Drennan O'Malley Motors. The ball coming out of defence is quickly cut off, though, by Stacey Middleton. John, Rachel and all the team at Drennan O'Malley Motors. Of course, John is now retired, but he's still part of the makeup of our great sponsor, Drennan O'Malley Motors. You'll find them on Chapman Road for a used car deal. They are the best in town. The ball coming out now off the pack goes away now. That player in O'Brien, easily picks out a lead, and the big fella in Parsons now will shoot on goal, Glenn.
Yeah, Jalen Parsons be a bit dirty. He missed a couple early that he should have got, but he has an opportunity to get his third. So Jalen Parsons got a good bit of play there from O'Brien. Spoke to Bo about the coach prior to the game. He said that he'd had a really good season. Jalen missed another one. He needs the hard ones, doesn't he? He struggles with the easy ones, Jalen.
If people don't know, Jalen wears very thick glasses when he's not playing football too, Glenn.
Yeah,
so he needs to put them on.
He hit the goal post, so he's kicked 2 goals, 3 this afternoon.
Might not have his contact, so to speak.
Holmes brings the ball in for Northampton, but Towns step on the way and take a good mark, so Towns have the ball. In goes the kick again from Towns, a short pass.
O'Brien again.
Yeah, and good bit of play there. Getting it forward from Hoffhammer.
Just the 15 metres, one would think.
Barely, yeah. So, O'Brien, 50 metres out. Kicks it high, wide and handsome. Puts it up the air for Parsons. And he goes over the top of the pack.
It was almost
a good, strong mark.
It was almost as though it was
the Northampton player.
Set up, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Northampton player and Stacey Middleton got the brunt of that, and Stacey does wear a helmet, so hopefully he's okay.
I said, Jay, why are you just kicking it up in the air like that? And that was why.
Yes. So let's see if Jalen learned anything from the last kick.
He's adjusted his specs, or so to speak, his contacts.
Let's see how he goes. He's 30 metres out, directly in front, kicking to the school end. He jabs at it again, But this time he's got it through, and Jalen gets his third of the afternoon. So Jalen Parsons moves to 3 goals. Towns kick on to 7 on the TMS scoreboard. It is Towns 7-9, 51. Northampton 2-5, 17.
Probably should have added Jay O'Brien to those better players too, Glenn, in the second term as well.
As we go around the grounds with thanks to the City of Greater Geraldton and Kirrily War, the member for Geraldton, we can see that at Mazzucchelli Oval at half-time, Brigades 4-6-30. Lead Chapman Valley 4-2-26. Half-time at Mullawar, Rovers 13 goals, 6-84. Lead Mullawar 6 goals, 2-38. And of course, our umpires this afternoon, 2 very experienced umpires. Umpires Robert Bennett and Stephen Pratt. They are the Sandra Carr MLC's GFL umpires.
Stephen Pratt had retired then. He's made a comeback.
Well, I think the fact is that it's just so short of umpires, and I think he would probably like to step away, but he has to help out. Only 2 umpires here today, but I've not got any problems with 2 umpires.
McGregor quickly runs onto the ball in the half-forward area, sends it inside the corridor, but the defence for Northampton doing the better on this occasion. The scoring end certainly has been the northern end with the breeze, a gusty breeze, probably even 2 to 3 goals at times, favouring that end of the ground as the ball goes forward again for Towns and through for the minus score. So, been the forward 50 for a majority, if not all, of the early stages of this, the third term. Glenn?
Yeah, Noah Ugle was the player that got the ball forward. He looks like a pretty likely type too, a very, very impressive player. He was offline on that occasion, but he looks like he knows how to use the ball when he gets it, and he gets it regularly. Ball to be brought back into play, and waiting on the boundary umpire to throw the ball in just in front of the beautiful scoreboard here. The Malcolm Gould scoreboard, of course, for TMS. The ball comes the way of the young Northampton player. Gets boot to ball. That's young Gus Spalding. Ball cut off. Kick wasn't as good as he would have liked. Ball went the way of Leon Jones. Leon Jones from centre wing kicks it back up towards full forward. Looking there for Jalen Parsons. Parsons suits on goal, but he's offline again, this time from 10 metres. So he's wasting a few opportunities. He kicked 3 goals, 4 now. And the scoreboard ticks over on the TMS scoreboard. Towns are 7-11, 53. They lead Northampton 2-5-17.
One of the great full forwards of the AFL of yesteryear, Buddy Franklin, drew a crowd nearly 4,000 at Darren last week. Lee.
Yeah, wonderful, wasn't it? Returning to his hometown to help.
They even got the big Coates lights in and everything.
Yeah, well, they're trying to buy some lights down there. They need $300,000. Be nice if the AFL would have perhaps helped them out. I think he played his fair way playing AFL footy. Would have
get a bit of traction, but still working hard to find some fluidity is that young player, but he'll find it no doubt if he keeps trying. The ball back in the middle now, goes away of a player there in Caddy. He gets it out, or does he? The defence for Towns does well. Centre half back, the mark is taken, ball switches play to the outer side. Towns defence having a reasonable day today, not having to work as hard as you'd expect. The ball to the outer side, the pavilion side of the ground, goes to centre wing, comes off hands. It's still in play though. They're back away of Northampton, but they unable to collect it or do something with it. The Towns player does better, goes to ground. The ball is in dispute somewhat on the far side of Perth International Oval. The ball now with Northampton. They send it into the half-forward area. Players set themselves. Ball goes to ground. There's forward now for Northampton. Can they have a shot on goal? They send it toward the big sticks. The whistle does sound before the ball is sent in that direction. I think it went over the boundary, Glenn, did it?
or out of the full, perhaps. I don't know. But
I think the ball's coming back, though.
Yeah, the ball is being...
I think the player might have ran out when he was running down the side
before
there.
He got there, yep. So they've got to get the ball back. That's the hard part. But there is nets at both ends of the ground now.
They're big nets. They're big nets, big goals. All happens here at Northampton, and the ball
very helpful having those nets.
Is going to be a kick out. So it was kick in favour of Towns. Comes inboard now, and bit of a contest there as the ball goes back the way of Northampton. They have another shot on goal. This time, are they lucky enough? Goes across the face though. Gee, luck's a fortune for the Northampton side, and the ball is goes out of bounds. So about to be thrown in. A deep attack for the Rams, and they really need to get a score.
And it's gone in this the premiership quarter for Drennan O'Malley Motors. Town still holds sway. Northampton have the ball in there. Can they get a score against the breeze and against the flow of play? And a whistle on play. Umpire will wait for the ball to be thrown up. And it'll be right on the boundary line, so umpire Bennett will put the ball into the air again. So there's a lot of players around the ball at that end of the ground, the golf club end, or the southern end. And once again, a pack develops. There's not much room for the players to get a free range. And once again, the umpire has no option but throw the ball up. About 8 and 10 players around the ball, not unlike an under-10 game. The ball will be thrown up again in a minute because once again, the player with the ball gets tackled and they'll have to throw the ball up.
Yeah, Braden Jupp it is, Glenn. He's trying to get in everything this afternoon, but he's not getting a lot of reward for his effort at this stage as the ball comes out of that passage of play. Going forward again for Northampton. Towns try and sort of bottle things up somewhat deep in defence there, and they are successful on this occasion. The ball's with the defensive player there, and Sewell, I think it is, playing defence at the moment. He kicks out of defence toward the broadcast side, or it's headed that way. Let's see what happens here. I think it's Big Simmons who has it, puts it onto his boot. He sends it out here toward the dugout for Towns. No one can take possession of the ball. The ball goes to ground. There is Sewell. Sends it through the field into space. Waiting on to it is Hebley. Hebley isn't able to judge the bounce. The line comes up all too quickly, and it goes over the white line right in front of our broadcast position. The Salubrious Country Club here at Northampton.
As Woodcock brings the ball in, finds Teakle. The big ruckman plays on, short pass, finds the hard-working Kieran Harris, who works very hard every time he runs out on the ground. Gets it away to a teammate in Spalding. Spalding gets it up the ground to Northampton. Northampton have a coup. Salonovic has the ball now. Salonovic, he's 60 metres out, kicks it up towards full forward. Nobody home for the Rams. But Towns player there, and Robert Bonney is. Bonney goes out wide, looking out there for a teammate. Northampton player comes in and greets him. Pack around the ball. Ball spills out. Towns have it again through Drew McGregor. Drew McGregor, the wingman, kicks it up towards half forward. But the player who read it best was Holmes. Holmes goes by hand, finds Criddle. Criddle takes them on, and on that occasion the ball comes to ground, and once again Lachlan Morphew gets the best of the decision, gets a handball on towards Drew Forrester. He gets it up the ground and finds Middleton. Noah Middleton, 60 metres out, kicks it up towards full forward, looking up there for Parsons. Northampton can recover through Teakle. Teakle gets a short pass, finds it out towards Jupp, back to Teakle. He goes away looking there for Millington gets it up the ground to Jupp. Jupp gets it up towards centre wing, and the ball very close to the boundary line. Once again, Drew McGregor gets it in. He goes by hand towards O'Brien. O'Brien goes with a short pass and finds Noah Middleton. And Noah Middleton has the ball. He is 40 metres out on a 45-degree angle. The young man in his debut game.
Talking to his mum, Callie, earlier today, and of course, his uncle was a great player for the Towns Footy Club, wasn't he?
Oh, Zach, a super player.
He presented him with his Guernsey today, Glenn.
Very nice. As Noah Middleton shoots on goal, he's offline on this occasion. Ball fades away badly to the right-hand side. Doesn't make a minus score. It's out of bounds on the full. So the scoreboard doesn't change. With the middle stages of this third term.
That breeze is playing havoc, I think.
Towns 7-11-53. Northampton 2-6-18. Northampton's Braden Jupp wanting to get the ball out. Short pass, looking for Holmes. Towns' defence good. Goes the way of the player there in Forrester. Goes to Middleton. He goes by boot towards Jalen Parsons. Parsons couldn't boot the ball, and once again Northampton get out of trouble through Paletti. Paletti kicks the ball high, wide and handsome. In goes Criddle. Ball spills. Picked up by Towns now. They shoot on goal, but his offline is Noah Ugle. Another minor score. So probably Towns wasting a lot of opportunities today, and Northampton probably fortunate about that. So the score on the TMS scoreboard is Towns 7-12-54. They lead Northampton 2-6-18.
Raymond Bonney having the last shot on goal, Glenn. He's certainly a player. Both those Bonney boys out there today are figuring for Towns and giving them a bit of speed and skill around the ground, aren't they?
Yeah, well, they're very exciting players indeed.
The ball coming out of defence now for Northampton. Under siege somewhat. Braden Drupp's working his heart out, Glenn, but the support is limited. Looking for options. Kick it toward the broadcast side. Player goes up and Criddle and takes the mark. The youngster, he's the new ruckman in the lineup. Criddle, I think he's only about 17 or 18 years of age. He sends it down in front of our broadcast position. And the little fella takes a mark. Gee, that was a nice little courageous mark there by the custodian as he plays on now. And that player there in Hampton, he sends it inboard, goes away of the player there in Paletti, comes off hands and spills over the boundary.
Yeah, good mark from Peter Hampton. He fed it out towards Harris.
Yeah,
the ball goes
he's
out.
The smallest player in that passage of play too, Glenn.
O'Brien has the ball now. He's getting a lot of possessions today.
Seen as deliberate, that last passage of play.
There goes O'Brien's big kick up towards half forward. Northampton in best position. Towns player goes in. Umpire has no option to come in and throw the ball up once more. Ball is 50 metres from goal at the northern end of the ground.
Towns have a handy lead though, don't they? 54 plays, 18 going into the three-quarter time break.
Well, Towns have added another 1 goal, 5 in this quarter. Northampton have added 1 behind in this quarter. And
their first term was just electric, wasn't it?
Yeah, that set them up.
7. It set
you get
them
a
up
5-goal start.
Incredibly well.
Pretty hard to come back. Ball thrown up. Towns get it through Morphew. Roved by the player there who does well for the Rams. Very close to the boundary line, but in goes Towns. Towns get it forward through Kale Collette. Picked up now by Tyler Caddy. Goes the way of the good player
good
there
mark,
in Angus
Lawson.
Reynolds. And a good mark again taken by Max Lawson right on the boundary line. Right in front of our broadcast box. Good crowd here at Northampton Country Club. Getting involved, enjoying the footy. Ball touched off the boot. Big pack around the ball once again. And once again a pack develops. And the umpires do what they have to do. They come in and throw the ball up. So ball in front of the coaches' benches, both Towns and Northampton. Towns would be a little bit happier than Northampton would be at this point of the game.
Sun-drenched Perch International Oval here this afternoon, as Glenn has mentioned and I throughout the broadcast so far. A big crowd in attendance, hungry for local footy as the ball's about to be tossed up just in front of the Towns dugout on the southern side of the oval, or southern end of the oval. The ball going toward the boundary, running into it is youngster and Saul. He certainly has... Well, he comes from pedigree, but he certainly has grown in stature over recent years, has a lot of youngsters in the Towns lineup. A lot of young players in Towns, Glenn, that are around 20, 25, 30 games. And that usually is pretty unusual for a player to amass that much, but they've had a very young contingent building over the last couple of years. The ball back in the middle now with Towns, goes away to Simmons. He kicks into the man on the mark, though. Luckily for Northampton, they are able to restructure that passage of play. Goes back the way now of Burns. Burns for the Rams, spins around on a 50-cent piece, sends it inboard, and player there in Lockie Morphew comes in, does well. Forrester, in fact, it is. The captain goes around a couple of players, gives it back to Simmons. It's like Groundhog Day. Simmons has another bite of the cherry, gives it to Morphew on this occasion. He sets up his teammate there, Morphew, giving it away to O'Brien. He's quickly collected up. The umpire says no prior opportunity. In fact, he was caught in possession. No prior opportunities, says umpire Pratt. He'll throw it up just inside the centre square.
17 minutes gone in quarter number 3. Drennan O'Malley Motors game day. And Towns still hold the momentum as it's picked up by Drew Forrester, who's picked off where he left off last year, playing some really good footy, moving hard. Looks like his fitness has even improved on last year. He's moved into the midfield now and enjoying that. Of course, won a J.J. Clune medal.
And he would have got off the tractor to come to the game today, one would think, Glenn.
That's right, and certainly be hoping for a little bit of rain the next day or two. And a little bit of rain forecast.
Is Forrester.
Ball to be thrown back into play. Deep in the pocket, just in front of the scoreboard. The northern end. The end to which Towns are kicking again this quarter. They haven't scored a lot in this quarter, but Northampton probably still got a lot of work to do as it goes to Towns again. Picked up by the young Towns player in Aiton Mason from deep in the pocket. Would have been a very good goal.
He got a good one earlier on today, didn't he?
Yes. Aiton Mason said, well, I kicked the last one, I might kick this one, but he was offline. And on the TMS scoreboard, and that stands for Technical Maintenance Support, the award-winning company has won the scoreboard again, and TMS scoreboard sees the scoreboard. Towns 7-13, 55, Northampton 2-6-18 on this Anzac Day on Radio Mama and Radio Geraldton throughout Geraldton and the Midwest.
Yeah, Drennan O'Malley sponsoring this the third term. Of course, the Drennans, I should say the O'Malleys, great supporters of the Railway Football Club too. Railway's having a bye today after a big win, or a good win, last week over Chapman Valley. Chapman Valley hoping to make amends for that out at Mazzucchelli Oval this afternoon when they take on the reigning Premier Brigades. Glenn?
Yes, as we go around the grounds with thanks to the City of Greater Geraldton and Kirrilly War, the member for Geraldton. 3/4 time at Mazzucchelli Oval, and Chapman Valley 6 goals 8, lead Brigades 4 goals 7. So going on what the scores have been, I expect Brigades will have the breeze at their back in the last quarter.
Similar conditions out there as what it is here, Glenn.
Yeah, very similar.
Yeah, gusty breeze, and it's certainly playing havoc with the players, but favouring the northern end, or particularly one end of the ground for most of the term. So this game in abeyance at the moment, 7-13, 55 Towns, a handy lead over the home side Northampton, 2-6-18. The ball going the way of Forrester now for Towns. Gets it to a teammate, caught in possession, one would think. I think so. And a free kick. No, Forrester gets a free kick. He was slung, actually, when he got rid of the ball. Gives it away to a teammate there who plays on in Sewell, but no, it comes back to Forrester. Forrester now. Just in front of our broadcast position, we can almost touch him from here. A nice big kick. Piercing kick into the half-forward area. Doesn't meet any intended target. Goes to ground. Towns, will they be able to get it? The defence for Northampton holds sway. Youngster Luke Burns starting to... Well, he's had an impact in this game, especially bottling things up when they need to be for his side. As Towns unable to get any traction, especially in that passage of play. The ball is brought back into a host of players and be balled up once again. But then we have mentioned it several times this afternoon. It's just very different to the conditions that we broadcast last week.
Yes, Northampton and Towns certainly showing that it's sort of very much their first game. And Braden Jupp running into a bit of form now. Gets it up the ground, but it's taken by a Towns player in Leon Jones. Leon Jones kicks it out wide, looking into the forward pocket there for Jay O'Brien. O'Brien just in front of the scoreboard has a tackle put on, and he's caught in possession. And the free kick will go the way of Northampton. Northampton defence working hard. And a Northampton player brings the ball back in. This ball smothered off the boot, goes the way of O'Brien. Feeds it back. Gives Towns an opportunity. Garland is taken to ground, and the umpire said, yeah, you had an opportunity to get rid of it early, and he didn't, so it goes back to Northampton defender, Jaden Paletti. Goes out wide, gets it up the ground, looking up there for Lawson. Lawson gets it towards Millington. Millington gets in the way of Ham. Cameron gets the ball forward, and there goes the kick, and very, very good play. Cam Holmes, that's who it was. They got it up the ground, and Towns player has the ball under him. Umpire says the ball was under him. He didn't have prior opportunity, so the umpire will come and throw the ball up. We're into time on in this third quarter, and it's been an interesting quarter to say the least. In this quarter, Northampton have kicked one behind, and Towns, they have kicked some 1 goal 5, so they haven't been really good around goals either. 1 goal 6, in fact.
Yeah, it had in their forward 50
a lot of time,
a lot of the time, but haven't been able to convert. Luckily for Northampton, that is. We're going back the way of Sewell. Do you like his game this afternoon? You mentioned it several times, but if he's got the ball a lot, you've got to mention his name a lot, aren't you?
Yes.
The ball is with now Tomilty. Tomilty for Northampton. Plays on now. Really beautiful kick from Tomilty on that occasion. He finds the waiting chest and arms of a teammate further downfield. Now, he will have a shot on goal. And we're talking about Jake Malaya, is that how you say his name? Malaya?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so Jake will have a shot on goal. He is going to be about 35 out. He won't do that. He sees the lead, and luckily, almost a worm burner, but Braden Jupp does take the mark. He's a lot closer. He's not much of an angle at all, and this is bread and butter for Jupp as the siren sounds to announce it's three-quarter time. So to go in with a goal, we'll put a bit of spring in the step for Braden Jupp and also Northampton. So he's going to kick from about 25 metres toward the southern end. So Braden Jupp wearing number 11 for Northampton. The kick's a good one. It's a straight one. It's through the middle. No, it's not. It just shows you what the breeze is like this afternoon. Caught it right at the end over the top of the very high goalpost. And I think it wasn't even a score. It dropped short. So at three-quarter time, it is Town 7-13-55, leading Northampton quite handsomely 2-6-18. And you're listening to Radio Mama, the home of GNFL football.
So
you're listening to the GNFL Match of the Day, thanks to Kerrily War MLA and the City of Greater Geraldton on Radio Mama, the home of GNFL football. You're listening to the GNFL Match of the Day. Thanks to our sponsors, Melissa Price MP and Grant Russell, Chartered Accountants. On Radio Mama, the home of GNFL football.
Yes, good afternoon. Welcome back. Three-quarter time, Drill O'Malley Motors Game Day, Radio Mama, Radio Geraldton. We're your home of GNFL footy. And talking of sponsors, we must thank the Rams sponsors. They've got a big list of sponsors. One of them is Red Dust Holdings, and they thank them for their support. Dylan and Oliveri Proprietary Limited, electrical contractors, are also a supporter. A major sponsor is McIntosh & Son, Percher International. Our scoreboard, TMS, which is technical maintenance support as well. And the game day sponsor is Independent Farmers First Rural. So well done to all the Northampton sponsors, and thank you for their support of the Northampton Rams. It is three-quarter time of the football, our quarter-by-quarter summaries, with thanks to the City of Greater. Goal scorers for Towns. Jalen Parsons has 3, and singles to Raymond Bonney, Gus Hebley, Aidan Mason and Arthur Garlett. Contenders for the Skeeters Restaurant Player of the Day. I'm looking after Northampton's better players. They've generally been in defence. Braden Jupp's lifted his work rate the last couple of quarters. Kieran Harris continues to work hard. Stacey Middleton is also working hard, and also trying to lift the Rams is Angus Reynolds, Caleb Teagle and Liam Paletti. And Peter, you're looking after Towns. Who have you liked so far?
Jay O'Brien, Drew Forrester, Caleb Sewell and Lockie Morphew.
And we're underway in this final term. With thanks to GT Russell Chartered Accountants. And Towns have the ball going against them because Northampton have it through Lawson. Lawson gives a handball back to Paletti. Under pressure, the ball spills. Jay O'Brien has it in the centre of the ground again. Feeds it out to Sewell. Sewell kicks it up towards half forward, but Northampton stand their ground. And a good mark taken by the Northampton youngster in Angus Reynolds, who's been one of the Rams' better players. The ball comes back into towards the centre, gives O'Brien a chance. He gets the ball out to Raymond Bonney. Back goes O'Brien again. Comes back towards Towns. Towns player has the ball caught in possession, and that's young Rex Hebley. And the free kick will go the way of Northampton's Tyler Caddy.
Caddy's been good this afternoon too, Glenn, but he's struggled against a pretty formidable opponent this afternoon in Towns. They've had most of the play this afternoon, and that's resulted in most of the score on the scoreboard. The ball going the way of Lawson now. He sends it forward for Northampton. Can they get an early score on the board in the final term? But spoil the party now. The defenders for Towns. They send it to the outer side. McGregor. He's got a bit of the ball this afternoon. He's been a bit player. Maybe I should have him amongst my better players, Glenn, but he seems to be just part and parcel of what happens in the Towns lineup. The ball from Caddy. Straight down the middle of the ground now for Towns. Comes off hands and spills over the boundary on the pavilion side. This quarter brought to you by Grant T. Russell, Chartered Accounts. I think Grant is out at the game at Mullawall today.
He is, and he just gave us a score update. The game out there, with thanks to the City of Greater Geraldton. Kirrily War, the member for Geraldton. We can tell you at three-quarter time, Rovers 19 goals, 9, 1-23. Lead Mullawall, and off hands of goal, minus score here. Mullawall 9-3-57. So a good margin in favour of Rovers. The other game.
I do know too, Glenn, that Rovers did not send their best side out there today either.
So 19 goals, 9, 1-23 to Mullawall 9-3-57. And the game at Mazzucchelli Oval at Nabwar at three-quarter time, Chapman Valley 6-8-44, Brigades 4-7-31, and Brigades will come home with the breeze as young Northampton ruckman Criddle kicks it up towards full forward. Northampton player was tackled while not having possession, and the free kick goes away.
Just let it play on.
Yeah, he's going to bring it back.
He's going to bring it back though.
So Grady Tomley will shoot on goal from 20 metres out, directly in front.
Bit of pressure on Grady now to put it through the middle.
Because the other bloke had used the advantage. He's asking the umpire why not. The umpire said no, I'd blown the whistle.
That's the point. Once
and Jake Malaya was the guy who kicked the goal after the ball had gone through. The umpire said no, bring it back to Grady. So Grady Tomley, of course, a premiership coach with Northampton, shoots on goal from 20 metres. He doesn't miss it from there. And on the TMS scoreboard, Northampton get their third of the afternoon. Northampton go to 3 goals, 7. And Towns still hold a comfortable lead. Towns are 7 goals, 13. We played 2 minutes in this second term, this final term, with thanks to GT Russell Chartered Accountants.
Talking about Caleb Sewell, one of the young stars now in the lineup for Towns. Just saw his pop, John Sewell, just come out of the club rooms, Glenn. And, of course, the Sewells are strong, been strong and very the flavour of Towns for many years.
Oh, I have so. And they've all been great footballers too, all the Sewell boys. Of course, Jim Sewell
was
the star.
the legend, wasn't he?
Jim was the superstar, but there was nothing wrong with John and Pat. And
they're very good on the tennis court too, the Sewells.
Very good, yes.
So the ball back in the middle now as we see a goal finally coming for Northampton. They've broken the drought somewhat, Kaylee, should say, Tomilty.
Yeah, Grady kicked it over the net, so so they've got to try and... Grady,
cheeky Grady.
Grady knew he needed a bit of a spell.
I tell you what, it was a big net too, and he had to kick it high. So yeah. So we're waiting for the ball to come back. As we said, this quarter brought to you by GT Russell Chartered Accountants, and as you said, Glenn, you went through some of the Northampton sponsors for season 2026, and all very important for local clubs to get these sponsors, isn't it?
It is. You can't run a footy club without your sponsors, and Northampton have a great band of sponsors, and we thank them for their support, and they're doing a wonderful job keeping footy alive in the GNFL, as are all the 7 GNFL clubs.
So the ball finally coming back now. Stop in play, holding up proceedings, but it's back, and we're back to the status quo. So the last goal was scored by Northampton. It is 7-3-55 Towns to Northampton 3-7-25. Can they add to the goal tally, Northampton, to make the scoreboard look a bit more impressive? But Towns have other ideas as they come straight out of the middle now, and it's off the boot of Hebley. Rex Hebley and his brother have been great inclusions into the Towns lineup this afternoon and will be big contributors this year as the mark is taken, though. In the full forward area, I think it is, or comes off hands. No, it's a mark.
Marked.
And it looks like it could be Raymond Bonney again, I think, is it? Or is it, 22? Yep, Raymond Bonney. So Raymond
He's already kicked one.
He has, and has been pretty special this afternoon. Bit of a link player. Has paid dividends here for Towns, and he doesn't waste any time. He's only about 15 metres out, straight through the middle, and Towns certainly have stifled out any resurgence, if there could possibly be any resurgence for Northampton.
Yeah, so Bonney gets his second of the afternoon, and on the TMS scoreboard, Towns go to 8 goals, 13-61, Northampton 3-7-25. Just looking through the list of players that are playing today for Rovers out there at Mullawa, I note that Tom Denton, Chris Scott, Kobe Bursell and Kobe Simpson aren't playing today. So there's a few good players to come back into the Rovers lineup. So let's look ahead what is happening next weekend. It is round 3 next weekend for Active West. Our broadcast game is at GBSC Sports Park. Brigades hosting Mullawa, so it gets us a first chance to have a look at Brigades and Mullawa this year. Other games, Towns play Railways at WA Country Builder Stadium. That'll be a ripper game, but that game gets underway at 5:30, so a late start for that game. That is at WA Country Builder Stadium. And Rovers play Northampton next weekend at Rovers, so that'll be an entertaining game as well. And Chapman Valley have the bye after playing the first 2 rounds.
You're talking about TMS. I think you said they're an award-winning company. I think they are the company that was the Business of the Year here in the Midwest and then went on to win the Regional Business of the Year.
Right,
so a great success story is TMS.
Yeah, Technical Maintenance Support is their full name, but TMS is what they go by. As Lachlan Morphew gets the ball up towards half forward, and he's picked out Drew McGregor. Drew McGregor for the Bulldogs, kicks it up towards full forward. Looking up there for Hebley. Hebley almost a good mark. Ball comes to ground. Once again, a pack around the ball. It's up in Towns forward 50, and that's against the breeze and against the flow of play. Most of the goals have been scored at the other end today, but Towns showed it can be done because they've kicked a couple of goals against the breeze, as Raymond Bonney did with the last kick. Ball comes back into play from the throw-up. Ball about 30 metres from goal. Whistle on play. Umpire said the free kick will go the way of Northampton. And Tyler Caddy, who's certainly worked very hard, has the ball. Tyler Caddy, the hard-working ruck rover, goes out wide and picks out his teammate out there in Lawson, Max Lawson, deep in defence on the Ram Pavilion side kicks it up, looking there for Kieran Harris. Ball off hands, and there'll be a boundary throw-in.
Should have Red Dust Holdings as well. TMS has a bit of a link there. Both companies headed up by Johnson's from Northampton, Glenn.
That's right, exactly.
So really making an impact is the Johnson family in business in and around the region. It's good to see. The ball coming in now at centre wing on the Pavilion side. Going to ground. It's picked up now by the big player in Jake Criddle. Puts it onto his boot. Oh, gee,
really?
Almost a lovely mark taken in the half-forward area, but alas, it went over his head. Ball coming out of defence now. It looks like it's Bonnie to Bonnie, and then to Garlett. Down the middle they come now. So they've got a bit of speed, Towns, this season, which is good to see. And this player adds to it in Sewell. The song he's plaudits as well. Back inboard now. Comes down the ground, going the way of that player, Leon Jones Jr. And it was a beautiful kick. It goes right the way of Bonnie. He doesn't waste any time. Unselfishly sends it across goal. It's marked by Morphew, who I believe has probably been the best on ground this afternoon. He's dominated the ruck, Glenn, and he's now going to have try and add a goal to his success story today.
Yeah, well, Towns have kicked the first 2 goals of this term against the Breeze. So Towns, Lachlan Morphew, the big ruckman, shoots on goal. Goal umpire signals 1 point only. And on the TMS scoreboard, Towns go to 8 goals, 14, 62. They lead Northampton 3-7-25.
So Lachlan Morphew, as I've mentioned, a great game this afternoon for a big season from the youngster. As I said, he's put on a bit of condition, and in the right way, that is. He's looking pretty fit and pretty bulky, and probably will be the premier ruckman in our competition, or one of the premier ruckmen in the competition this year, and he's steadily built to that status over many years, Glenn.
Yes, it's good to see a developing player, and big men take a little bit longer to develop, of course, too, so still only a very young man.
And some of the things
and his best foot is certainly ahead of him.
I mentioned a few weeks ago some of how fortunate we are, Glenn, in country footy, especially in the GNFL, to see some of these youngsters develop, and Lockie's one of those, isn't he?
He is. It's very good. The ball is with Northampton. Braden Jupp is another one. He's a more experienced player. He's been around a long time, a premiership player for the Rams. He gets the ball up quickly towards the forward line, so Northampton have the ball in their forward 50, deep in the pocket, just between the scoreboard and the right point post, where there's been a fair bit of play there this afternoon.
It'll be interesting to see how the return of one Jamin alone was for the Demons today out there at Mullawall.
Yes. Well, he'd be a super player, and he looks in pretty good nick.
He does.
Ball comes back into play as we see Towns with the ball, but a player is tackled. Umpire will come in and throw the ball up. 11 minutes gone in this final quarter, with thanks to GT Russell Chartered Accountants. This round has been brought to you by Sanford Settlements and, of course, the GNFL Community Bank. Geraldton are the naming rights sponsors of the GNFL this year. And Jamin, yeah, he's amongst the better players. Our report comes through.
Yeah, I'm just getting. I sent the SOS out as well too, Glenn. So yeah, listening in is our correspondent, track side, or should say field side, in Grant T. Russell. The ball now. Northampton not giving up some of these players. Peter Hampton has the ball. Not much of him, but he certainly stands
player,
up. Yeah, and Grady Tomilty takes a mark down in the half-forward area, and he'll have another shot on goal. Yeah, they're saying that Jamin would be the best on ground out there at Mullawall today.
Okay, so Grady Tomilty hasn't played a lot of footy. He's been injured in more recent years, but a very fine footballer in his own right. Shooting on goal from 55 metres out. Grady has hooked this one, trying to get a little bit extra length. Ball goes through for a minor score. So the TMS scoreboard.
And, of course, his dad's pub, the Miners' Arms, is where all those footballers have their cutouts out the front, Glenn.
Yeah, very popular pub, not only because of the cutouts, but, yeah, I'm sure that the Northampton players may end the evening there this evening. As we look at the scoreboard, Northampton go to 3 goals, 8, 26. Towns are 8 goals, 14, 62. So the margin's still a pretty comfortable one for Towns. But Northampton, their effort has been good, but they just haven't been able to finish off. They're a very, very young side. And finding the going a bit tough this afternoon, although Towns are a pretty young side as well, but they are a little bit more experienced in the number of games they've played.
Yeah, and we talked about that earlier. It's just by virtue that they've had to do that over recent years, haven't they?
Gus Spalding gets his kick forward for Northampton, again looking for Grady Tomilty. Ball very close to the boundary line, and that point post goes out of bounds again. And, of course, a big round of fixtures today. It's round 2. Next weekend is round 3. And we'll be calling you all the action again next weekend. Brigades and Muller at GBSC Sports Park.
Skeeters have some great lunchtime specials, Glenn, and now best on ground this afternoon. Be able to take someone along to lunch next week.
Which is a nice thing to do. Very nice indeed. And it's great to see Skeeters Restaurant being so supportive of local footy for so many years now. They've been looking after our players for so long, haven't they?
They certainly have. Ball in deep attack now once again. As the ball comes in now, deep attack I should say for Northampton at the northern end. The breeze favoured end, although the breeze has been very fickle today, Glenn. It's sort of blown across the ground, and we'll see a bit of a snap in the end there from a very tight angle. I'm just trying to see who got that goal there, just from in front of the scoreboard. So, that came from something out of nothing, that goal, and gave the Northampton faithful something to cheer about here this afternoon in the dying stages of this round 2 match in the GNFL. But no, I didn't actually see. It was a pack of players, so they're all jumping up and congratulating each other. So we'll find out who it was, but it just shows you that they haven't given up, the young Northampton side, and that was a clever snap in the dying stages of this game.
Well, Northampton on the TMS scoreboard now, 4 goals, 8, 32. Towns 8, 14, 62. 30 points the margin in favour of the Bulldogs. Towns back in the centre. Morphew to do the rucking against Jake Criddle. Ball goes up in the air. Towns get the best of it through Morphew.
Stuff.
Towns player tackled in Arthur Garlett. He puts pressure back on. Ball comes back out to Northampton. Northampton get the ball up towards half forward. Ball running free. Grady Tomily's there again. Looking out there for Hampton. Ball spills. Comes back towards Towns through Hoffhammer. Goes to Rex Heavily. Goes forward. Looking there for the player in Tomilty. And a pack develops. And umpire Pratt will come in and throw the ball up just in front of our broadcast box here for Radio Mama and Radio Geraldton here at the beautiful Northampton Country Club.
Yeah, Tomilty and his opposite number there in Cameron Hoffhammer getting to know each other at close quarters as the ball comes out of the pack now. It's sent into the half-forward area, and it's Caddy who does so. Caddy, uncanny, he continues to work well, even though his side is struggling this afternoon. The ball goes across the face of goal and through for the minus score. So next week, Glenn, I think we've mentioned it. We are back in town in Geraldton, and of course there was no game in town today. All games being played in and around the district.
Yeah, 3 games in the country this week, but next week they spread it around again. There's 1 game in the city. Next week there's 2 games in the city. One is a 2:30 game. That is our game, Brigades and Mullawar. The other game between Towns and Railways, which promises to be a very good game, there's a 5:30 start for that next week. And Rovers and Northampton, they play out at Rovers. They're all in town next week after being all in the country today. As we see the ball go forward quickly towards Towns' big man and Declan Parsons. He soccers the ball forward, picked up now by Rex Hebley, or Rex soccers the ball off the ground, and a minus score results. So another minus score to the Bulldogs. Towns are 8 goals, 16, 64.
That's the Rex have waxed today, haven't
They
they
lead
really?
Northampton 4-9, 33. Ball to be brought back in by the Northampton defender. So Northampton playing the game out, but Towns just doing enough to hold on. They have set their game up. Braden Jupp is a pretty sore conveyance at the moment.
He's trying his guts out.
Yeah, Braden is getting up off the ground.
He's got
after
a sore guts at the moment by the
he's
looks of things.
sore everywhere, I think. He's really been great since quarter time, hasn't
Yeah, he has.
Braden Jupp plays on quickly. Centre it, looking there for Gus Spalding. Carries that player. Goes the way of Jake Criddle. Criddle gets a handball out. Finds Woodcock. Woodcock for Northampton in the centre of the ground. Kicks it up towards the forward pocket. Looking up there for Grady Tomilty. He feeds a handball out to a teammate. That teammate throws boot to ball, but he's offline. And the wind K's it out. And that was young Cole Solonovich. And the ball goes out of bounds on the full just in front of the scoreboard. So there's been a lot of play over there in front of the scoreboard. We used to call the footy from the scoreboard once.
I remember.
Yeah.
We've called footy from everywhere, every angle, so to speak.
Angle, yes. So
we've never been on top of the pavilion.
never,
though.
no.
Probably an opportunity.
That would be. It'd be a good view from up there. Up on the hill, the tower. So the ball to be brought back in by Towns. The Towns defence. as Towns get to celebrate shortly their very first win of the season. But only 18 minutes gone in this last quarter. So Towns have the ball now. And Towns youngster with the ball. Plays on, very short pass. And that was young Nate Thomas McGee. Got the ball up the centre of the ground. And it's taken now by Gus Heberley. Gus Heberley, a lot bigger build than his brother Rex. There goes Gus's kick up towards the centre wing. But a good mark taken by Gus Spalding on this occasion. Gus Spalding puts it on his left boot. Picks it up, looking up there for Lawson. He has the ball taken away from him. And the boundary umpire will come into play. And there'll be another boundary throw-in as we head towards time on in our Drill and O'Malley match of the day. Quarter number 4, 19 minutes gone. And this is quarter for GT Russell Chartered Accountants.
Won't be much time on, Gen, because there hasn't been much score in this particular quarter. So time is certainly ticking away and into the latter stages, certainly, of this round 2 match. Ball coming in now, players setting themselves. Up they go. Lockie Morphew has been pretty special this afternoon. He didn't win the tap on that occasion. Looking into the sun, the ball goes to ground, players diving on top of each other. And a free kick has gone the way on this occasion of Joshua DeLacy. DeLacy, he's a player that could really figure in Towns this year. Probably is more of a senior player now, even though he's still a young man, Glenn, in this very young side. Certainly got a few games under his belt as we go further afield through Bonnie. That's Raymond Bonnie to the outer side. Teammate answers the challenge into the full forward area. Parsons runs into an open goal. Bang. That's just too easy for Towns. And they score another one. And they go to 9 goals, 15. And they lead Northampton 4 goals, 9.
So Jalen Parsons gets his 4th goal of the afternoon. And Towns carry on their merry way. 69 plays, 33 on the TMS scoreboard. As we go around the grounds with thanks to the City of Greater Geraldton and Kirrily War, the member for Geraldton. And Brigades have come home strongly with the breeze. And Brigades have won. Brigades 6 goals, 14 have defeated Chapman Valley 6 goals, 8. So a 6-point ball game out there at Mazzucchelli Oval. And Brigades, the reigning premiers, get their season away to a flyer with their first win of the season.
Yeah, winning on the road at Chapman Valley these days is a pretty big get, Glenn.
Yeah, no, it's a good win. There's no doubt about that. And Brigades finishing on strongly. In the last quarter, Brigades added 2 goals, 7.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Chapman Valley didn't add to their score.
Spent a bit of time in their forward 50. They could have probably scored another few more goals, half of those points. You never know, they wouldn't score all of them because it's got to go back to the centre. But, yeah, they certainly obviously dominated in the last term. And luckily enough for Chapman Valley, they didn't get more score on the board. But now the reigning premier, and they have their first win of the season. Ball going forward now for... There he is again. Jalen Parsons takes a nice mark. Or is it Jalen that came out? Yes, it is. He's going to go for goal number 4, is it, Glenn, or goal number 5? Goal number 4 for Jalen?
Jamin's, there's a number 5.
Number 5, yeah, there you go. Give you one job to do stats, Glenn. And
yeah. 5.
But you always question yourself. You always have them right, but then you always question yourself.
Well, he's a long way out this time.
I said he's going for goal number 5.
Yeah.
And he got it. He's got it. He's got goal number 5. No, he didn't. He didn't.
No.
He didn't. But he certainly had a. He'd have to go to the better players at the end of the day.
Well, he's kicked 4 goals.
He
5.
has. He's had a few shots at goal.
Yeah, he's had a few shots.
Yeah.
And he's looking very dangerous.
He is.
And it's a very tough breeze. I think we've got you can't underestimate how tough it is out there.
Oh, it's blowing into our faces right now.
Yes, it is interesting. So on the TMS scoreboard, Towns are 9 goals, 16, 70. Northampton are 4 goals, 9, 33.
Ball coming out of defence now. Brigades just locking in now as they can see victory. And they're certainly going to have a convincing win here this afternoon. And I'll tell you what, a few years ago they were languishing at the bottom of the table, and I will say now that Towns are certain there's no way that they'll finish out of the 4 in season 2026, Glenn.
Well, who's going to not miss out? Railways? Rovers?
We'll
Chapman
see.
Valley?
We'll see.
Brigades?
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
The ball going forward now for Northampton into the half-forward area. Tomley tries to kick it off, soccer it off the ground, and it goes through for the minor score. So players starting to feel it now, getting to the end of the game. And it's been a pretty physical game out there today, hasn't it?
Oh, a lot of pressure on the ball carrier, and the players will certainly know they've played. There's certainly a very young sides, both these sides, and they've certainly developing, but they've still got some work to do to get some senior players in to give them a little bit of stability.
But I think, Glenn, you've really identified a nice mark there taken by Harris, but you've really identified what is going to be exciting is the Final Four, because it's going to be pretty tight, I reckon.
Oh, well, that's right. That's what you want, isn't it? You want it to be tight. There's no doubt about that. And if you've got to win your games at home, and, Northampton haven't done that today. Chapman Valley haven't done that today. Mullawar haven't done that today, so that makes it really hard. You've got to win your games on your home track and then, hopefully win a fair share away. So
that's the bonus.
That
one's
away.
Yeah,
that's right. So...
1916, sorry, Glenn, 1916-70 to 4-11-35. It's going to be a convincing win to the Bulldogs, isn't it?
Yeah, going to be a really good win to the Bulldogs. A good way for them to start their season. Good way for the young players to enjoy a hard pre-season. Goes the way of the young Northampton player, gets boot the ball in Peter Hampton, and the ball goes out of bounds.
It's the ball about to be thrown in. Time ticking away, 24 minutes and 20 plus seconds gone. As the ball, they go across goal in defence now. Young Simmons, I liked him. Last season he had a bit of a downer in his career, but I think he's shown he's revived himself from that last year. As the ball goes to the outer side, see, the ball comes off hands and goes over the boundary. So Northampton can still get another score on the board here as they attack. The play going in to take the mark now. We'll have a shot on goal, and that's Cole Selinovic. He's had a bit of the ball today, Selinovic, hasn't he?
Yeah, good young player.
He is. Good build of him. He's just... I
think it might be Spalding, that one.
No, is it Spalding? Okay, it is Spalding.
Yeah.
I thought it was number 9.
Yeah.
But anyway, it is Spalding, actually. In he comes. He has a shot on goal, and it's going to drop short. 3 for minor score. So that's been the story of the day for Northampton, isn't it?
Yeah, but they've had the ball in their forward 50, just haven't been as efficient as they would like, and they need to tidy that up. But, yeah, they would be reasonably happy. Disappointed that they couldn't win on their home track, but a reasonable start for the young Northampton side, who are in a rebuilding phase, it's fair to say. Yeah. They are a little bit like Towns. There's not a lot of senior players out there. Towns,
they look very, very different.
Yeah.
Very, very different to the side that finished last year, that's for sure. Finished the season last year.
Yeah, that's right. So the ball to be brought back in by Towns. Time has run out for Northampton as Towns get a short pass forward, and it goes the way of Drew McGregor, the senior player on the side for Towns at the moment. Drew McGregor, a former premiership player with Brigades. Now, last few seasons has been at the Bulldogs. Ball now with Towns player in Leon Jones.
And he coaches a very successful Towns women's side then, doesn't he? Has Drew got the Towns women's side or not?
Yeah, he may do. Yeah.
I think he might do.
Yeah. Well, he has in the past, but whether he is this year, I'm not sure.
I think
he has in years gone by.
Yeah. So the ball still with Northampton. Towns are resigned to the fact that they've got this one in the bag as Northampton have another shot on goal to try and adjust their percentage, and misses all and sundry on this occasion. So Sting has really gone out of this game here at Perch International Oval this afternoon. The Towns will have a nice journey home to Wanthella, first win of the season, and the siren sounds to announce it is the end of our Drennan O'Malley game day today here on Radio Mama. And in the final analysis, it is Towns 9-16-70, a big win over Northampton 4-11-35. You're listening to Radio Mama, the home of GNFL football.
You're listening to the GNFL Match of the Day. Thanks to our sponsors, Melissa Price MP and Grant Russell, Chartered Accountants. On Radio Mama, the home of GNFL football.